Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video, and after the 40-minute TWAB read yesterday, obviously I think there are a few more things to go through regarding all the stuff that we learned about plans for future weapons. Today I just wanted to focus on crafting because I think that deserves its own little exploration. I kind of gave, some initial thoughts as I was reading through it, but I've had, a day or whatever to think about it, and I wanted to kind of go back through it and talk a little bit more about things I like or things I don't like or things I still have questions about or I'm confused about in terms of how that system is going to work. So I'm going to head back to the TWAB here to kind of read through this. One of the things that I found interesting was this, the deep sight resonance idea. So this says, randomly rolled weapons throughout the game will have a chance to drop with a new ability, deep sight resonance. This will be used as you begin to target specific traits to craft. As an example, if you find a deep sight resonance legendary auto rifle with a rampage perk, you can complete an objective and extract the essence of the perk and then craft a weapon with rampage or another perk that increases damage. So the attunement here that they show off is use this weapon in combat or complete activities. So it's just kind of a % progress bar based on either enemy kills or completion of strikes or matches or whatever you're going to do. This is an interesting idea to me because the reason I like this is because it kind of solves a problem that Destiny has where you just get so much loot that you just trash. Like 99.9% of the time, every drop you get is just getting shredded. And like part of that is vault space reasons and whatever, but this seems like a good way to make you kind of examine every legendary drop you're going to get and then use weapons that you may have just normally deleted because they're not some perfect god roll, but here you are using them to extract the perks from them. The perk extraction system sounds a little bit like kind of like the division system, but this is kind of where I have questions. I have a question about how grindy this is going to feel. I'm wondering, is this get like 50 kills with this weapon, or is this get 500 kills with this weapon, like a catalyst chase or something like that? Because I think you can, it's kind of a fine line between like, making someone use a subpar weapon for just a little while and like to diversify and to extract a perk, and then making them use it like for a ridiculously long time. I am also curious, I'm getting a phone call as we speak here, telemarketer from Caledonia. So, nope, hard pass on that one. I'm also wondering kind of how the system works here, and like, is it like the division system? Because I'm wondering what this means is like, am I getting say a rampage token? You know what I mean? Like, am I getting a one-time use of the perk rampage that I can throw on a weapon, or am I unlocking the perk rampage kind of permanently to be used indefinitely in future crafting? I'm also curious if the weapons you're getting are they for like are the stuff is the stuff you're extracting for that exact weapon, or can it be for different things? So this legendary auto rifle they're talking about, am I extracting perks for my own custom legendary auto rifle, or could I put rampage on a machine gun or an SMG that can roll rampage too? That's not really discussed. It also says you can craft a weapon with rampage or another perk that increases damage. So maybe there's like classes of perks where it's like you unlock, maybe like rampage kill clip and multi kill clip are like the same tier or something, and you kind of work toward unlocking that tier as opposed to unlocking all individual perks. But again, they don't really go too much into detail there, and that is something I am kind of curious to learn. Besides that, we have kind of a look at what this is going to cost for upgrading. We are kind of upgrading individual weapon power as we go along. There's something called Resonant Alloy, which is a new form of currency that will allow you to upgrade your power level there. It also costs 40,000 Glimmer and 12 enhancement cores to move to the next level. This is on top of whatever custom masterwork. This is like kind of an entirely different thing used for crafting. It shows that you're getting, I don't know how many levels you can take a weapon through. Like this weapon is at level 7 right now, and it says you can get to level 20. So like, I'm not sure when that ends there, but it seems like so you can see the stat for handling is going up the more you upgrade it. So this is kind of another component of crafting where as you're crafting your perfect weapon, you're kind of using it along at the same time that is, you're working towards a specific kind of stat boost. So like this is the handling stat boost, but these are presumably other stats. So in case you wanted more stability or probably not impact, impact might be something you can't upgrade, but you know what I mean? Like reload speed, you can work in kind of different directions. So this seems to be something that they didn't really talk about. It says, enhanced stats and traits can be unlocked when reaching higher levels, granting slight bonuses to your weapon capabilities. So that is my question of what kind of these max out at. And also they're talking about enhanced traits. So I'm wondering if that means like there are better versions of perks you can unlock. Like if you get the max level of the Rampage perk, does that mean, maybe Rampage lasts 1 second longer or something like that, or does, 2% more damage or something. So I'm very curious about how that's going to work under this current system, because they did not really give that much detail here. And I think that's kind of an interesting idea in terms of more customization past just like putting perks in. One thing that appears to be the case here is this does not seem to allow us to put in. I just noticed for the first time that there's three there's three traits in these weapons. So I think that's one of those is the origin perk, which is interesting. But so there does not seem to be an ability to put multiple selectable traits on weapons or perks. So I thought the idea would be like, okay, I unlock Headstone for this thing, but I also want to grind out the ability to flip that over to Rampage instead. So you don't seem to be locked in, because this is where we get to the shape reshape thing where they say you can modify your weapon. It says it can be intimidating to start making decisions on how you build your weapon, so we're giving you the ability to reshape your crafted weapons in the Enclave if you want to mix up the components of your weapons after you finish crafting them. You can switch up what barrel, mags, or traits you choose, so don't feel like you got locked down one path forever. Are perks traits? This is what I'm really... Is that what it means? I feel like if there were perks, they'd be saying perks, but... Anyway, this is my question here, is because does this mean like you can just kind of go to the thing and then flip a switch and then change Headstone to Rampage? Or is this going to be some sort of like new regrind where like, okay, you want Rampage on this? Like you got to go, regrind out that perk for this weapon. Because if it's that, and if we're not just kind of like mixing and matching from a bank of unlocked stuff we've already had, I feel like that might be a little cumbersome. But again, I can't really tell if that's going to be the case from what they're describing here. I am very curious to see what that actually looks like once you have kind of like what kind of max grinding looks like, because if you can't do that, I feel like you still just need to save multiple rolls of the same gun in order to avoid the cumbersome process of like, okay, every time you want to have a different perk set up or something, you have to go back to the Mars relic place and then switch it and then take it out, and then like it just seems like it could be a little more cumbersome than it needs to be. So I have questions about that. And then we get to the idea of mementos. This is something I guess I kind of predicted wrong here, where I heard the idea of a cosmetic unlockable, and I immediately assumed it was going to be something that they're going to monetize. They don't mention that here. I'm not saying it's impossible that they might sell weapon mementos in a way that they can monetize it, but this says a new endgame rarity cosmetic item for players to chase as they build out their new arsenal. And so they list Trials of Osiris, Grandmaster Nightfalls, and Gambit. So I think they're just starting with literally the Gambit one and then adding more later, which is kind of hilarious. But we don't even know what these are, as far as I can tell. I've looked through all these photos and I don't really see anything that looks like what I would consider a memento. I can't tell if that would be like a decal or some sort of like weapon trinket that like dangles. Like the immediate one I think of for Gambit is, could you have a little dangly jade coin? That seems like the most obvious kind of idea for a weapon trinket there is. So I'm wondering about that. Does seem like something they could potentially sell in the future, although given the fact that they are only even unlocking apparently one of these now and not even introducing the other ones till later, that seems like something that may be far in the future if it happens at all. And then we finally get to exotic crafting, which I was not actually expecting to be a part of this. This seems like kind of a combination of the idea of what we've seen with Hawkmoon and Dead Man's Tale, where we kind of farmed for random rolls of those, but obviously the whole point of this crafting system is to cut down on RNG and cut down on random roll chasing. So the idea here is that you can choose between things like barrels and stocks while preserving the exotic look and feel. So you can get a longer profile for the weapon, or you can shred through enemies up close and personal, and you'll be able to customize stuff through that. So what that says to me is, so like for the Osteostriga, the intrinsic perk is it has toxic swarming projectiles or something. You're not going to change that out to like some other exotic perk, but you could be like, all right, I'm going to put corkscrew barrel on this and extended mag, because this is the profile I want, but you can grind out other things as well that kind of change around the other perk. Maybe you can pick one of the two perks, because like obviously Hawkmoon and Deadman's Sail have their own unique exotic capabilities, but you could still put, you know, Vorpal or Rangefinder or Outlaw or whatever on those. So I do wonder if, you know, Osteostriga, you could put Rangefinder on it, or Subsistence or something like that on it, which I think would be just a cool idea, and I would be curious to see them do that for more exotics. Obviously, I don't think they're going to do this with all exotics, because the concept of all exotics does not necessarily lend itself to that, and that would be tough to balance. But I think Deadman's Sail and Hawkmoon are kind of trying to set up the situation that we're going into now. So to me, that's pretty interesting. That is kind of what they talked about overall with crafting. It's nothing like too crazy. Like it's nothing, you know, dramatically outside what I was expecting, but I do have some kind of questions about like, how is this really going to help with vault space and things like that? I know every time I talk about vault space, it's this huge divide between like, obviously we need more vault space, and like, you're just hoarding everything. And you're about to see how much I'm hoarding, because I'm going to do a vault cleaning video soon. Not with Dado, not just me, or just with me, because I'm too scared to let Dado clear my vault and like delete 100 things or whatever. But I will be doing that in the next couple of days here. I almost did it today, but there's too much to talk about. So I'm excited about crafting. I think it definitely, you know, it sounds like 90% really, really cool and interesting. I just have questions about maybe 10% of the stuff they haven't fully addressed yet. I think some of this is kind of just like, we're going to have to get our hands on it to like fully understand how this feels. I hope it's not too grindy. I hope it kind of allows for more interesting build crafting. And I do like the idea of kind of a personal investment in a weapon that you have taken a lot of time to grind out, as an alternative to like, okay, would you rather spend, you know, 20 hours farming for one perfect roll of something just through RNG, or would you rather spend 20 hours grinding out kills and whatever activities to get to know you're going to get the one perfect roll that you want pretty much no matter what? To me, I think that's more interesting and kind of a better way of investment than just pure RNG. I'm wondering if everything switches over to this system, kind of what happens to random rolls and RNG in the game more generally. Right now, this is only a handful of weapons, so it's obviously not taking over the game completely, but that's something I guess we'll have to think about in the longer term. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.